one of the most frequently asked questions in job interviews and a fundamental concept in Angular. Welcome guys, in this video we are going to find out how your application gets loaded into the browser or the Angular application flow. Let's get started. This is part of the video series Angular course, and if you have not watched the earlier videos, I strongly suggest you go through them first for a better understanding. This was the application that was created by our Angular CLI. Since then, I didn't make any modification on that application. Now, in this video, we are going to find out how this application is rendered into our window from our application project. First, I will open the browser console and see what actually got rendered into our page. We can't see much here. We have almost an empty body tag. We'll try to find out from where we are getting all this information, which we can see under the elements. In the left hand side, we have all the project files that were created by the CLI. Now our point of interest here is the index.html, because as a single page application, it is relying on a single HTML document, which is our index.html file. But we don't have much here. The body tag is almost empty with one strange element, app root. This is not a standard HTML tag, right? But this is the essence of Angular. It lets you create custom HTML element. But to understand how Angular achieves this, we have to understand a process called initialization or bootstrapping. Bootstrapping starts from our master configuration file angular.json. Here we have a build configuration. Now, if you look under the build configuration, you will find a main attribute. This main attribute points to a file which should act as an entry point of our application. In this case, it is pointing to our src/main.ts file. Let's have a look what we have there. Main.ts file looks almost empty, but it does two very important things. Angular applications are platform independent. So one application can target a browser, a web worker, or even a mobile application. Now for that application to work, we have to make an instance of that platform or that environment over which our application should run. The first method here gives us the instance of such a platform. Now, as it is created by Angular CLI, and the default configuration for the CLI is to create a browser platform, because in most common scenarios, we are targeting a browser for our application to run. Once the instance of that platform is ready, we are trying to initialize one module as a root module of our application. By default, app module will act as a root module of our application. Let's see what we have inside the app module. So as you can see, app module is just an empty class, but what makes it special is the decorator above it. This ng module decorator tells Angular that you should treat this class as a module. It takes a configuration object which has several configuration options like declaration, imports, providers. This will be explained in detail in later video, but right now our focus is on the bootstrap attribute, which is pointing to app component. Now we are moving to one more fundamental block of Angular, which is component. If you move inside app component, you will see a similar decorator, which is now @component. It also takes similar object, but this time the configurations are different. It takes a selector. If you look at the selector, you will find something with which we started the entire discussion. It is the app root. So somehow the thing that we saw in the index.html is pointing to this component. But here also we don't have any HTML, right? But again, just after the selector, you have the template URL, which is pointing to HTML. Now this is indicating that we are moving to a HTML file which might contain all the components that we saw in our page. You are right, all those components are getting loaded from our app.html file. You can see it has a lot of code, and that is what got loaded into the browser. That is how what you see in the browser gets loaded from your project structure to the browser. To put everything together, the bootstrapping phase starts with the angular.json file, where we have the main configuration, which points to the main.ts file. Now the flow goes to the main.ts file. In the main.ts file, we have platform browser dynamic, which creates a platform, and then it bootstraps a module, which is our app module, and that's why app module is the root module for our application. Then our app module gets initialized, where we have a bootstrap attribute which points to the app component. Now once app component is bootstrapped, the app component's corresponding HTML file is known, and also the app root HTML element is known to our browser. Then our index.html can render that app root which will load our app HTML. That is how the HTML that you see in the browser gets loaded from your application. That's it for now. If you want to have more detail on the application flow and actually want to understand the behind the scene compiler activities and how this TypeScript file gets converted to JavaScript and is attached here, please let me know in the comment section, because this will be a little advanced topic and you need to have a basic understanding of Angular before jumping on to such advanced topics. Please subscribe to my channel so that you get notified whenever a new video is available. I will see you in the next one.